Welcome back to CFB Nation. I'm your host, Nino Brown. This might look a little different. We got a special guest today. My guy, the governor of college football, KT, filling in for Dino. Again, when you see us on the screen, this is the team, Devy Darlings. How we doing, bud?
Hey, I'm feeling fantastic. I'm excited to be on the show. This is my first appearance on the show, so I'm super excited to it's an honor to be on this show, bro.
This is your premiere, right? Premiere
Yeah,
episode?
it's the first I've been on P2P. I think this is probably the only CFB Nation show that I have not been on before.
Well,
So
the cherry has been popped.
yes,
Here, this is going to be a classic one. And we're going to be talking about, a guy that recently may have came into an opportunity with some news, in the past week that he could get, his reps up, this season. It'll be Treyaun Webb, running back out of Florida. But before we get to that whole department, we're going to talk about, 6'1", 205 out of Jacksonville, Florida. This guy was a four-star, running back recruit, running back 20 in the 23 class out of Trinity Christian Academy. Listen, he has got some accolades, right? Two-time state champion. He was a 2022 Super 11 selection. This kid got snaps as an 8th grader on the high school team and then missed the whole season due to a broken arm. I mean, before we go knock it down, KT, talk to me a little bit about this guy.
I like him. I like him a lot. Trinity Christian Academy in 2020, 2021, he had played 10 games, 123 carries, 837 yards, 12 tutties. That is crazy. 2021, 2022, he had 147 attempts, 1,186 yards and 11 tutties. And then his senior year, he went crazy. 147 attempts, 1,117 yards and 20 touchdowns, had 7 100-yard games. And I know you're about to get into his abilities, but he's somebody that at that age, you don't see a lot of decisive running backs. Everybody's looking for the home run play.
Right.
And he's so decisive. He trusts his eyes. He trusts his ability, because I think he's probably deceptively faster than what a lot of people think. And he's so powerful, even though he only holds 205 pounds. I like him a lot.
He plays a lot bigger than the size.
Oh, he does. He does.
When we talk about, when we get to the player comp section of the episode, people kind of be like, whoa, but I want them to understand, like, this, if this guy checks all the boxes, his style of play, his physicality that he has, he could be a dude. When we mentioned, Montrell Johnson has that week-to-week injury. That running back room is kind of slim, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Right.
But this guy, you mentioned it, the vision. He's patient. He waits. But I like that he can run between the tackles, and he can also break it outside. And if he gets ahead of you, good luck, right? Because he's a playmaker, natural playmaking ability. He can make a house call at any moment. He's got good bursts out of the hole, which I like. He's not, Damian Tomlinson shifty, but shifty enough where he can make one move. And now you're looking at the numbers and the name on his jersey. So he's compact. And again, we mentioned before, he's physical. Don't come in there with this weak shit one-arm tackles. Yeah. That don't work here. The shoestring tackles are not going to work here against this gentleman. To make it more of a recency, and we'll get into later, guys, he's kind of an upright runner, right? He's got more of that, like, Braylon Allen style, run to him, kind of his shoulders upright and just goes with it. He has, and this is the king, okay? And we only seen 1 year of it, but I seen a little bit of film from high school. He has, like, a little bit of that Derrick Henry kind of stiff arm where he puts it on a helmet. You might be going down real quick, and that's going to hurt. You mentioned, a lot of stats earlier were rushing. That guy at the backfield in college football nowadays, we want to see that dual threat capability. Right. Wasn't his fault, okay? He didn't really have the receiving options at Trinity. They run a single spread offense. He was in a shit ton of Wildcat, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, depending on when we go to Florida. That's where he's going to be. But, like, and we saw him last year a little bit, like, he has the capabilities to lead a backfield. But before we talk about the room and everything, I had a question for you. I mean, he's at Florida. He's got it's been, almost 10 years since we've seen a back out of Florida be a bell cow and get over 200 attempts. What are your thoughts here? I mean, because the last gentleman I think we were talking about, let me bring up his name here, is Kelvin Taylor. And that was 259 attempts, and that was in 15, just for 1,000 yards, right? 1,035, averaging 4 yards per carry. Now in college football, 4 yards per carry is a bell cow. Right? What are you talking about? but nobody exceeded $150.
That's interesting.
A lot of offensive changes, a lot of coordinators have been. It seems odd to me. What are your thoughts on that like trend we've seen for them?
I think it's not only are you seeing it with running backs, you're also seeing teams do it with defensive ends, keeping them fresh. It's just the way that the game is going. The NFL, you got some teams that really don't even have a featured back. They just kind of got like a, should we even call them a 1A or 1B? Maybe a 2A and a 2B,
right?
Kind of situation going on. I just think that's the way that the game is headed. And I know this is something you touched on a little bit, that we really didn't see him in a scheme that provided, where we can see his talents as far as catching the ball out of the backfield. What I was able to see in film is that he was pretty damn good in pass pro, but that's at the high school level. It's a different level, especially when you play in the SEC. But you see he had the capabilities to do it, had great form on some of his pass pros. But I think that's just the nature of the beast. I want to see if he'll be a viable option on third down, or is he just a 2-down back?
Right, and we've seen he played a little bit of second and third down in the games where he got some time, but they kind of were in garbage time.
Yeah, so it was garbage time for sure.
You're going against the second stringers or first stringers that are beat, right? So that's a different story. Yeah, I do like his pass pro again. In high school, you're usually the guy you're lining up against, you're that much better than, and when you get to the next level at college, they're going to check you, and then when you get to the next level, the guy in front of you is just as good, if not better. Right.
We see it at the Senior Bowl every year.
So it will be interesting. I mean, we've seen Graham Mertz become kind of an efficient check down Charlie in this Florida offense. We've seen guys do well, Etienne, Johnson. I'm not a fan, but Damian Pierce did well in this offense.
He did.
Who was a physical downhill back. Didn't have as much speed or shiftiness to him as Webb does. I think this kid is walking to a prime opportunity. And listen, as a 4-star guy coming out, there was a lot of teams out there that wanted him. And there was guys. He got recruited by some dudes. So talk to us about some of the offers that he got.
Yeah, he of course he ended up committing to Florida. Was recruited by Jabbar Jalouk, who also recruited DJ Lagway, Trevor Etienne, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, just to name a few. He was recruited by South Carolina, recruited by Georgia, Auburn, Ohio State, Michigan, UCF, Tennessee, and many, many more. So, Nino, why don't you talk to us about some of the stats he had last year?
I mean, like I said, he didn't get in many games. It was probably about 5 or 6 games where he really got some opportunity. He played in a total of 11. A lot of that was special teams. But he had 24 attempts for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, simple math, so that's over 6 yards per carry. And he did have 4 receptions for 18 yards. So in the garbage time, he showed that, yes, I can use my hands. I wasn't asked to use my hands, before. But I said he played in that Wildcat. And I just want to reiterate on that vision, because we both love the vision. But when you're playing in that Wildcat role, remember Ronnie Brown? Ronnie Brown at the Dolphins, he had excellent patience and vision. This kid has, and Ronnie Brown was kind of that bowling ball type of guy that could just shake you quick and go. So, this kid has it. And like we talked about, there was an injury recently with Montrell, Johnson, who it's week to week, but it's a lower body injury, a knee injury. I don't know if it's a knee or a foot injury, but anything like that for a physical running back that already is probably going to split time, because that's what they've done.
Right.
It brings the concern. Like I said, the room is kind of thin, but I'm going to let you, take over here.
Yeah, it is really interesting. You look at their running back room. You already talked about Montrell Johnson, 5'11", 200 pounds, had 150 attempts last year, 800 yards, 42 total receptions in 3 seasons. And then Jaden Ball, 4-star freshman recruit out of Decatur, Georgia. Do you think, do you think he can get viable carries? Because let's talk about Florida's schedule. Florida's schedule is ridiculous this year.
Right.
You're talking about easily, I think, the most difficult schedule I've seen over the last 5 years. Certainly, Arkansas a couple seasons ago has a seat at the table, and South Carolina's schedule from last season has a seat at the table. But this is a really difficult schedule, and they have to be ready. Week 1 they have Miami.
Week 1 is Miami, and I believe it's Samford following that. I mean,
Right.
there's a couple other gentlemen that are in that room, but a lot of those guys, there's a couple of walk-ons, a couple, so, and there's a redshirt junior and a redshirt senior as well. So it's like the opportunity is there, but in that Miami game, do not get it twisted. This is a battle of Florida, right? These guys don't like each other. It's not Florida State, but these guys do not like each other at all. Okay.
Right.
And if that injury, and they're not going to let Montrell Johnson week 1, if things are lingering in camp and, what are we, 25 days away?
It's not far. And then week to week is scary. I get Cam Rising vibes.
No, listen, it's not Utah. They lie. They will lie to you. Billy's a little more upfront with us when it comes to the news.
I don't like the week to week situation. I don't like that at all.
I've got guys in the chat like Florida has potential to start 5-0 and then go 5-7, and that's fine. And I said that to you, right? If they get to that 5, but just look at the first 2 games, right? You're playing 31st at home against Miami, and then you're staying at home again the next week on the 7th against Samford. You're at home for the first 3 games actually, because the Aggies A&M come home. Like, there is a chance this kid could probably get himself first 3 weeks of the season 30+ totes.
He should be able to. Yes.
Do not let my guy mess around, right? And start averaging 5+ yards per carry and stop being a passing option. Like I said, in garbage time, in junk minutes, he still got 4 receptions. I think he had close to double-digit targets. So the guy, he can do it. He's showing that he can do it. It's the physicality. Now, in that Sanford game, he's probably going to get, highlighted. They're probably going to use him more because they're going to try to save Johnson. Why use the guy that's kind of got an injury?
Right.
So they're going to go get Boston experience, right? And then you'll get Webb probably for most. That's going to be, I don't want to say the measuring stick game for him because he went off against McNeese State, right? And it would blow him out there. But going against Miami, if he does well, and then he can stack good performances, now you're playing the Aggies. This kid's the hot number for you. What are you going to do? You're going to take him out going the rest of the season? No, you're going to ride the hot hand, right? And obviously, like you said, that they do the combo pack. So there's opportunity, kid.
It certainly is, man.
Let me see here. After that, after the Aggies, you got Mississippi State, UCF, right?
That team in Starkville going to be a lot better this year with Jeff Lebby than they were last year.
No, I get it. And the Tennessee game, obviously, they're probably going to be out of that game, right? I would assume, right? But we've seen, crazier things happen. Mess around and stay in the game. But then they come home to Kentucky. Now, I know a lot of people got high aspirations for Kentucky.
Right.
Kentucky could either hit the ceiling or they could that balloon could pop and they could be on the floor. That could be a winnable game for Florida. And if that's a close game, this kid could be a valuable, option for them.
As long as they can tackle this year, because Ray Davis had a game against them dudes last year.
How many Ray Davis games have happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he had 5 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, it don't happen often.
All right. So there's opportunity for him. Again, I don't wish any more harm to Montrell Johnson, but I don't think that they're going to rush him with it being, I believe it's a knee injury. I don't
especially if they can find a way to win week 1. And let's say Montrell doesn't play or he kind of got light duty and T-Dub is getting most of the carries that game. They're going to sit him out that week 2 game. Who did you say that week 2 game was against?
Stanford.
Again, yeah, they're going to sit him out that game.
Oh, he's going to get it. Maybe he's got the first 3, series, and then all right, we're going to let you get some stats.
Right.
So maybe get 8 for 40 and a tutty, and we'll just put you on the bench. You know what I mean? And then we'll see what we got in the youth. So it's very, very possible. Again, the physical style, because check down Charlie here.
Yeah,
he's not going to be throwing the ball 40 yards downfield. He's going to be looking for that short intermediate route.
That's it.
He's not going to have any problem. Oh, you want me to do an RPO? I got you there. We can run a little short RPO, but give me that halfback counter. Give me that halfback cutback like that. That you're going to see those. You're going to see them sweeps and them outside runs. This kid could eat like Zeke Elliott eat this season. And I want everybody to know Devy Darlings is one of the first guys out there talking about this gentleman.
Right.
And what brought the light to me was the physicality of him. And so when we get to this player comp section, for me, I know people are going to be, whoa, these are heavy hitters. Yes, they are heavy hitters. But I expect this kid to click and check all these boxes. And I think that he will be. Will he be a first-round pick? I'm not saying that. But I think you have the capability and the potential to kind of be in this realm. I got a former LSU running back, Leonard Fournette. He was a physical guy, right? But he also had that speed where if he kind of got by you or you guys were side by side, he was probably winning that foot race. And then I had, Melvin Gordon. I mean, his junior year at Wisconsin, 206 attempts, 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns. I don't know if he can get to 1,600 yards, right? But I could see him getting, 150 attempts, maybe getting like 900 yards to 1,000. But the touchdown thing, I think he could be the guy. I think that he honestly is a red zone threat to John.
He is for sure.
And he's physical and he's youthful. Like you said, the pass pro thing is going to be where it's going to keep him on or off the field more. He's going to get his options. But what are your thoughts on my two comps? And then I'll give you the two comps that Dino had here earlier on the docket.
I know people kind of what you were hinting at are going to probably, like you said, blow it out of proportion. Oh, he's only 6'1", 205. But if you look at the film and look at what he was able to do, and I know it was high school. Who cares? Bro is decisive, one cut, shifty enough, like you said, but he runs through a lot of arm tackles. It's difficult to tackle. It's so difficult to tackle him. I love the Melvin Gordon comp just because his vision. We talked about his vision. Right. We talked about his decisiveness. He got speed in the open field, and he could definitely score. So I love that comp. I know your boy D now has some comps. How you feeling about those?
All right, so let's get into them. You got Marcus Lattimore, right? Guy had 2,600.
People don't remember how nasty this guy was before.
38 touchdowns. He was a touchdown machine, just like Fournette. Fournette had 40 touchdowns in his collegiate career. So it's like these guys just found the red zone. And I feel as though maybe that was where, because he was a physical runner, didn't really have the speed, I think, of Webb, but Lattimore had that physicality. He loved I think he looked for the contact more than he looked to get away from it. But he was a red zone touchdown dude. I kind of really I was thrown off by it because I haven't seen that name in a while. But the more I think about it, the more I think about his NFL game and his college game, and he squished it all together. Sean Green, 2008 Doak Walker Award winner. This dude had 2,200 yards and 22 touchdowns. He was a guy who was also physical coming out of the hole, right? He had a stiff arm to him that would buy him a little bit of distance. And then if he got in front of you, it wasn't this track that was going to blow you out, right? But if he got in front of you, he had enough giddy up to him and such a powerful low after. He was probably, you weren't catching him. It was going to be chunk yards before you got to him. So I like the comps. I'm more on the Green side than the Lattimore side. What are your thoughts on his comps?
I love the comps. Like you said, the Sean Green comp was amazing. Lattimore was so cold before the injury, man. But T-Dub had the sky's the limit as far as I'm concerned, as far as what his ceiling looks like. It's truly the limit. And like you said, when opportunity knocks, bro, you have an opportunity here. We don't know what Montrell Johnson's health is going to be looking like in a couple of weeks, especially with him being week to week. So if you're able in a game that you probably was only going to get 5 or 6 carries, you're able to get 16 or 17 carries. That is a big difference, and he could truly make a difference. But if you watch the film, he's got an eye for the end zone. I don't care what you say. He got an eye for end zone. He's decisive. I know I've said it like 17 times, but he's extremely decisive. If you watch a lot of running backs at that stage, they're not decisive at all. So he could be an impact player for the Gators.
And the whole Wildcat option for him, I love, because I've seen a lot of his cutbacks where he's patient, waiting, he's following his blocks, and all of a sudden something opens that's bigger or better. You know what I mean? He doesn't pull like a Marshawn Lloyd where I'm just going this way no matter what. It doesn't matter if the hole closes or what. But like if something opens in the way, man, he's always got his head on us, bang, and he's gone. That's like I mentioned the cutback on the counter. This kid can just kill you that way.
Yeah.
And if you're coming down with a nickel linebacker or a strong safety to try to hit this guy and take him down, you better be ready for a first down and chunk yards, because he's just going to carry this dude for at least 6 or 7 extra. It's just the way he works.
So. He's that old school slasher, bro. It's not, I'm gonna run this way, run it. He's gonna run. He's gonna follow his blockers. He's gonna make one cut. And you're gonna be like, how in the hell did he end up there? That's the type of running back he is.
It's shifty enough and spontaneous enough. But boom, now he's got that. Like I said, he doesn't have to get so much follow. If he gets even with you, he got enough speed and shiftiness to kind of just pull away. And
if he's even, he's leaving.
That's it, exactly. And then you're looking at the numbers and figuring out his last name. So I'm Nino Brown. This was a special one. Had my guy, the governor, fill in for D now, aka Mr. Get It Done. Governor of College Football, KT. I'm Nino Brown. It's the CFB Nation. Devy Darlings. We signing off. Peace.